In this section, I will show you how to use Microsoft Excel to perform GST-related calculations at a rate of your choice, which is typically the case in many countries where the VAT or the GST rate is not fixed. Now, for the purpose of this exercise, we will have to have the general form of the formulas, which I've listed for you up on the screen here, just for your reference. So let's get started with the detergent. Now, the detergents here we have to calculate the price excluding GST, which is cell C7. And to do that, we need to reuse equation number 5. Equation number 5, it states that if I simply divide $23 being the price including GST by 100% plus the rate itself, then I will get the price excluding GST. So let's go ahead and reflect that formula in cell C7. In cell C7, we say, okay, it's the price including GST, which is E7. That is E7. And over, we open bracket, and it's 100%. And make sure you include the percentage sign. It's very important. Otherwise, your calculation will be incorrect. So 100% plus the rate itself. The rate itself, which is 15%. So I'm going to go ahead and type for now 15%. Now, if I hit enter, I will get $20. Now, it looks good. The answer is correct, but there's a problem here. What I did here, I have made the GST and the VAT, or the VAT rate, which is the 15%, I've made it built in the formulas. Or in other words, I've actually made it hard-coded. So in Excel, hard coding means using specific amounts. The downside of that, it becomes really tedious when the rate is changed, since I will have to go back to each cells and make the changes individually, which involves a lot of work. Now, a better approach is to insert the rate cell in a cell and use that cell as a reference. Using that technique makes modifying and maintaining your worksheet much easier. So how do we do that? So if I simply come here to the formula where I've typed in the 15% and go back, instead of typing 15%, I'm going to use the location of the 15%, which is really in cell F2. So if I hit F2, so now I'm reflecting the rate in the formula, so which is F2. If I hit enter, I still get the same answer. Now let's go ahead and calculate the GST amount, a number of ways of doing it. So let's say I'm going to use equation number 2. So equation number 2, we simply come up here and type equal, and that is equal to the rate itself. Again, it's cell F2, times the price excluding GST, which is cell C7, and we get $3. Now, in terms of the water, there's no tax on it. We simply type 0. And because of that, the price before and after tax is exactly the same thing. So I just type equal and copy the content, or reflect the content of E7 in cell E8 by simply selecting E7, or E8, sorry, it's E8. So, so in terms of the chocolate, now this time we have the price excluding GST, and to calculate the GST amount, a number of ways, but let's go ahead and use equation number 2. Equation number 2 states, if I simply multiply the price excluding GST, which is cell C9, by the rate, the GST or the VAT rate, which is F2, I'll get the $8.33, the GST amount. In terms of the price, including GST, we can use equation number 4. That is because I already have PE and also the rate, so it's quite straightforward. So we just come up here and type equal, and open the bracket. Then we have 1 plus the rate itself. So 1 plus the rate being F2, then close bracket, and then multiply the whole lot by the price excluding GST, which is C9. Okay. Now it's $63.83. It's more or less the same thing for the Y, so we can use exactly the same concept. So it's basically the rate itself, and then we times that by the by PE, and again for the price including GST is equal to 1 plus the rate, and then multiply the whole lot by cell C10, and that is equal to $32.78. Now, in this example, we have both the price before and after tax. We need to calculate the GST amount, a number of ways of doing it. So let's go ahead just now select, let's say, for example, I'm going to use equation number 3. Equation number 3, which relies on the price including GST to calculate. Now, of course, I can use equation number 2, which is easier, but just because this formula involves a lot of brackets, I'm going to go ahead and use equation number 3. So equation number 3 states that if I simply multiply PI by the rate over the rate itself plus 100%, I get the GST amount. So we got to be careful with the brackets here, okay? So we open bracket, this is the first bracket. Then it's the rate itself, which is the R%, okay? Which is the R%, and then, oops, forgot the equal sign, so let's do it again. So the equals, and then the rate itself, and then over 100% plus the rate. So I'm going to open bracket. It's very important to open bracket because we are adding the 100% plus R%. You want to tell Excel to do that, you have to use the bracket. So it's 100% plus the rate itself. Okay, now the whole thing, the whole ratio, F2 over 100% plus F2 is multiplied by PI. So to basically make sure that the calculation is correct, the whole thing means that I have to have another bracket on the left-hand side and another bracket on the right-hand side, and then multiply the whole lot by the price including GST. Okay, it's $3.53. It's a little bit tedious to do it this way, but I mean, I can use formula number 2, which is much easier. You simply multiply the rate by PE. But let's say, for example, I don't have the price excluding GST. I don't have it, then you have no choice. You have to use equation number 3. So make sure you pay attention to the number of brackets, opening and closing. Otherwise, you will not get the right answer. Now, in terms of the salt is 0 tax because it is GST exempt, as you can see, and then therefore it is $12 here. Now, the peanut, the last item, the peanut, we can use equation number 2. In this case, we only have, by the way, we have the GST amount. There are no information whatsoever about the prices. All what we have is just the GST amount. So let's go ahead and calculate the price before and after tax. So in column C13, we can use equation number 2. Equation number 2, it says that if you have the GST amount and you have the rate, all you have to do, if I divide the GST by the rate itself, I get the price excluding GST. So I'm just rearranging this equation. So you think of PE as a ratio, which is equal to GST over the rate itself. So to reflect that, just come here and say, okay, it's the GST rate over the rate itself. So now we get $15.33. Now, since I have more information now, straightforward, I can use equation number 4 to calculate the price including GST. So which is really equal to 1 plus the rate, and then we times it by the price excluding GST, and we get $17.63. Now we're done with the whole table. Let's go ahead and calculate the total. So let's just run a sum in column C. So it's simply, you can use the sum formula. So just adding all of these, and we get a total of $162.18 being the price before GST. What we can do, we can simply just copy and then drag to the right-hand side, which replicates the same attributes. So the customer paid in total $183.61, $21.43 goes to the tax man, $162.18 goes to the retailer. Now that we're done with all the calculation, let's take a look at this. So this particular invoice is applicable at the GST rate of 15%. Now, if I just go up here, and instead of 15%, I'm going to type 18%. You will see that the whole calculations have been changed. That is the beauty of actually using the GST rate as a reference rather than hard coding it. That's what I was talking about initially. So if I simply go up again here and just type 20%, it will tell me what would the GST components or calculations looks like at the rate of 20%. So you have full control over it. So for the rate of 20%, the customer, of course, is paying much more GST amount, which is $27.44 versus, say, a tax rate of, say, 10%. Just keep an eye on cell D15. At the tax rate of 10%, the customer would pay $15.25. Now, let's look at this specific example, which is applicable or typically applicable in those countries where you have different tax rates for different products. So let's start on the left-hand side here. Let's say, for example, I have 10 products, and each product attracts a different tax rate. So product 1 is taxed at a rate of 10%, and product 10 is, or product 9 is taxed at a rate of 19%. And there are other products which are GST exempt. In this case, we have a list of products with the GST rate in column C. We have the price before GST, and we have to calculate the GST amount, the corresponding GST amount. Let's start with cell E3, the GST amount. Now, to calculate the GST amount when the tax rate is given and so is the price excluding GST, it's simple. We use formula number 2. I just put the formula right at the top for you here so you would remember. So we simply go up here and say, okay, it's the tax rate. And again, we should not hard code it. We will not type the actual number 10%, but we simply type the location where the 10% is, which is in this case is C3. So C3, and then it's times by D3, and now we have $1.23. So we have $1.23 being charged for a product bought for a recommended retail price of $12.35. The GST amount, many ways of calculating it. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use equation number 4. Number 4 again, it's equal. Then we open the bracket, and then we have 1 plus, then the rate itself, which is cell C3, and then the whole thing, we close bracket. So remember to open and close bracket. The whole thing is multiplied by the price excluding GST, which is D3. And by doing that, I get $13.57. Now, moving on to product number 2, I don't have to go and do the same thing all over again. What I can do, I can simply highlight those two and simply copy down. So we copy down all the way down. What Microsoft Excel, it takes the same attributes and do the calculation for us. So if I click in cell E4, which is the GST amount for product 2, and click up here, what it does really, it just reflects, formula number 2. It multiplies whatever rate is there, so because it's reference, by the price excluding GST, and we get the $1.07. Now the same thing for the price including GST. What it does, it's just 1 plus the rate itself over times D4, and so on. Now what we do now, let's say, for example, I need to find the total. Now we've got the individual calculation, so simply we're not going to add the percentages. You cannot add the percentages here. I'm going to add, see how much a customer bought 10 products, how much is the total now. So let's just run a sum here. So this is, let's say, a sum which adds up the all the components in column D. So the customer paid, a part of this receipts is $127.24, and then if we just copy and drag to the right hand side, I will get the total. So in summary, this customer paid $143.98, $16.74 goes to the tax man, and $127.24 goes to the retailer. Now, if you look closely at this table, you will notice that the GST amount for both product 5 and product 10 is 0. And that is because the GST rate is 0. So Excel knows already, because if you put 0, all what it does is it just multiplies the 0% by the price excluding GST, and hence the 0%. The same thing for product 10. Now, another thing you need to be aware of is that this is now a dynamic calculations, in the sense that if you decided to make any changes to the tax rate, you can do that and it will automatically calculate the individual and the total. So let's say, for example, for product number 1, the tax rate has changed now from 10%, let's say to 15%. You will see that will automatically change the corresponding cells and also the total. Let's say now product number 10 is no longer GST exempt, but it's actually 2%. And again, now you will have 5 cents being paid on this specific product. Let's take one more, the 25% now. Let's say it has been reduced to 20%. Again, the tax has changed, and so is the total. Now, the last point I would like to mention before we move on to the next exercise is, having looked at each product which attracts a different tax rate, some has as low as 0 and to the highest, which is really, 20%. Would be interesting to find out, the average GST rate applied on this list of products. So what is the average? Now, to do the average, you cannot simply average percentages. It's really misleading. One way of calculating the average GST rate is using the actual or the absolute numbers here. So to calculate the GST rate here, we can use equation number 2. But this time, what we want is R%. Okay? We have the GST amount, which is $17.07, and we have the price excluding GST, which is the total, $127.24. So let's go ahead and reflect equation number 2 in cell C13. So if you simply come here and type equal, which is equal to the GST amount, and that is equal to E13, and we divide it by cell D13, we get 13%. So really 13% is the average GST rate. So in other words, in this specific country, although there are a mix of GST rates, but most of the products are skewed towards the GST rate of 13%. So let's say, for example, I make some changes here. Okay, I'm going to make some changes. So I'm going to make, let's say this is 16% and 12%, and let's say 10%. And this is no longer GST exempt. Let's make it 20%. You can still calculate the average GST rate since this formula is linked to the total here, and those totals are really the additions of all the information in this table. You will automatically get the GST rate. In our case, is 14%. So in this example, we have done the calculations on the assumptions that the GST rate and the price excluding GSTs are given, and we've calculated the GST amount and the price including GST. Now, in this example on the right-hand side of the screen, this time I've got the GST rate and the price including GST. So the purpose of this exercise is to calculate the GST amount and also the price excluding GST. So it's more or less the same process the same methodology and use the same formulas. You can pause the videos and do it yourself, or you can simply just sit back and watch me as I'm doing it. Now we've come to the end of this learning session. If this video helped you on your knowledge journey, or you think other people may benefit from it, feel free to share your experience with someone else. And remember to leave comments, suggestions, or questions in the comment section. If you are new in here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Insight Experts channel. Every week, I'm covering interesting and relevant topics that will help you on your building knowledge journey. My name is Nader. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep learning.